I think when we're obviously talking to our buyers, whether they're here in the UK or internationally, the sort of fundamental principles of a robust legal system. Some people are able to take advantage of currency plays, our educational system here, etc., etc. And I think one of the trends we're noticing, particularly where we talk about overseas students who are studying here in London, and I think you probably all know the stat, currently today there are about 84,000, that's predicted to grow quite substantially, that more and more of those sort of students, their parents are buying property for them. So that's sort of quite an interesting trend. But the market is there. The big challenge for us, and again we'll all be aware of it, is that there's still a terrific lack of stock. The Mayor has obviously just increased his target now for London to 42,000 units a year. We're struggling at about 20,000. I think it was about 16.5 and 3.5, the split between affordable last year. So although obviously there is more product coming down the lines over the next sort of 3 to 4 years, that gap is there. Some of the research that Jen has done recently with her team actually predicts that we need 52,000 units a year, never mind 42,000. So with that sort of gap in terms of, the demand is there, definitely both to say UK and internationally, but the stock is not available. So those drivers will continue. There's no doubt, and obviously it was interesting looking at one of the slides earlier, that the regions will definitely benefit from some of the sort of challenges that London can't satisfy in that sense. And I think, again, we're going to publish some very good research around that. But obviously, it very much depends on what is the motivation for that person buying in the first place. But obviously, it bodes well, particularly obviously for the private rented sector, because that demand has to, people need a home, they need to live somewhere. So whether it's in London or outside. And Jen again referred to things like Crossrail. If you look at the impacts, which for me, Crossrail is still a bit of a secret. I think a lot of people probably haven't tuned in. And if you look at the impact on travel times and obviously values, and I think, again, and Jen will correct me, but if you look at a stat around, I think it was Southall, Hounslow, Acton, partly due to the impact of things like Crossrail, you're going to see between now and 2019 a 40% increase in house values. So, that's going to have a consequential effect. And if you look at areas such as Maidenhead, I think the travel time in from Maidenhead into the city is more or less will halve. So I think that's going to have an influence about where people live, where people work. So we're entering, I think, a very interesting period.